Welcome everyone to the next episode of the CyberSec Sessions. Today I'm joined by Gilles and he will be talking a little bit about, well, usually I start these things with the company that people are working for, but we'll get into that in a second. But Gilles is a CISO and compliance person for a company. And we'll get into a little bit the reason why we've got him onto the call today. But first of all, thank you very much for your time.
Hello, I'm happy to be here. Hello, everybody.
Fantastic. Well, look, to start things off then, to keep the audience not on the edge of their seats for too long. So the reason that we're not associating you with a company name today is you want to keep the identity of your employer hidden. I know we spoke about this before. This is something that you do in general anyway, but for the audience that's listening, what's the reason for this and when did you start taking this approach?
I believe I've started that almost 10 years ago. It's called the Chatham House rule. It means when you have knowledge, you don't say where you learned this knowledge. World Economic Forum actually is using this format regarding their talks. I learned that 10 years ago, maybe. I was general manager of an intelligence economic forum, and we gathered a lot of VIP in here, and that was the Chatham House rules that was applied. So I thought at the time it was an interesting concept, which I didn't know, but very interesting. And then around 2017 and 18, we began to witness targeted attack. And Ukraine attacks, cyber attacks, were quite big at the time. And then LinkedIn made OSINT, gathering intelligence about people quite easy. And I realized at the time it was a threat to the company I'm working at to actually display where I'm working. So for instance, when you have this kill chain attack, the very first step is actually gathering intelligence about the target. So basically the bad guys are just going to LinkedIn and looking which companies they want to attack, who's working there. And then they target, the administrator, which have a higher administrative accounts or like a junior, like a trainee. And they target those so that they send phishing. So not displaying where I work is actually, I would say, best practice to protect the company I work for. The last company I've been working for, I've been working there 4 years, and I displayed it only 4 months after I left the company. So it worked well for big companies, but lately I've been working for startups. And obviously it's different because when you have 4 to 10 people in a company and, the company is a shell and you don't advertise anybody on LinkedIn, when the company has 10,000 people, it's okay if one is not displaying working there. But when you have 10 people and nobody is displaying it, it's kind of, different. But anyway, that's how I practiced it. And
Right. No, it's a really good idea. I mean, one of the things we've been talking about in previous episodes is about operational security and targeted attacks and things like this. So it's a great way around it. Yeah.
That's way is about to disrupting the next attack. So I suggest administrative people on training, which doesn't have a big cybersecurity understanding, to just keep a low profile so that they don't become a target.
Yeah, makes sense. Does make it slightly annoying for recruiters like me when I'm trying to find people, but for the security, I think we'll allow it for the benefits. Fantastic. Well, look, the next question and really your area of specialism. So I know you've got 20 years of experience. You're one of the very few people that have certifications in both compliance and anti-money laundering and in cybersecurity in the crypto space specifically. So what do you think about the state of regulations and certifications in the blockchain space at the moment, in particular in Europe?
I've been doing cybersecurity for 20 years. So just to talk about history, from 2005 to 2013, everything was, it was the beginning of the cybersecurity at the time. We had no school to train people for that, and everything was going very fast. But starting 2013, 15, it began to pick up speed. We had much more budget, and the school began to, to train people regarding cybersecurity. And then we had GDPR on, Ukrainian attacks and stuff. So it's, it started to become a very big thing. And since 2020, I think cybersecurity is much more stable, right? Now, when you look at the cybersecurity team, you have always the same function. You have the SOC, the hosting team, and then, the vulnerability. So it's quite stable now. What I'm saying is that it moved a lot very fast, and now it's much more stable. Regarding cryptocurrency on the blockchain ecosystem, it's moving the same now. So it's moving very, very, very fast. And then regulations are coming, and then it will begin to slow down, and things will become a little bit more stable. I'm smiling at that because it looks like from me, oh, I've seen that before. Regarding the regulations, so I think it's good. We quite need it. Otherwise, trust won't be here. Let's be honest. I've met some bad people in the space as well, so it's important, to clear up the space as well. And some will probably go to jail, which they probably deserve. So regulation is good for that. My only drawback regarding regulation, it shouldn't disrupt innovation. Regarding MiCA or some other European regulations, I have only one regret. I think they should have keep a low threshold for very young startups that don't have, enough resources, financial or people resource, to actually get ready for those regulations. So from my point of view, MiCA is great, but it should have been mandatory only for a certain amount of, business. We should have kept a very almost no regulation for startups that just want to try and to check their fit to market. And if it starts really, and if it picks up speed, it means the company actually gets money, gets clients and stuff. Then they switch to much more serious and hardened regulation frameworks. The fact that we don't have this very low, almost no regulation threshold means it might actually disrupt innovation a little. It's kind of a regret from my point of view.
That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, you look at the highly regulated industries that are out there now, like banking, right? Very highly regulated. It's very hard for, as you say, a startup to break into that industry because of it. Makes sense. Perfect. And so you also have, certificates in this space which are quite rare. So for anyone else that's looking to maybe increase their knowledge, get some certifications in crypto security and compliance, what ones would you sort of recommend, really?
There are different topics here. First, you can look at your personal certifications. So on this level, I guess CISSP is one of the oldest one. I got mine around 2010, so it's almost, or 2008, I don't know, it's almost like 15 years ago. So this certification has been around for a lot of time, and it's quite well known, it's quite famous. So on a personal level, I would definitely recommend this one. Then ISO 27001 is another good one. This framework has been picking up speed lately as well. Because it's been around for 15 years too. I had a 3-digit number around 2010. I was one of the first one in France too. But now the framework is quite stable and used worldwide. So it's a good one. And ISO 27001 is a company certification as well. So CISSP is a personal one. ISO 27001 is a personal and company one. So I believe somebody with those can definitely build a quite very good cybersecurity framework in a company if the company target an ISO 27001 certification. And then you need experience. I believe cybersecurity management, you definitely hands-on experience. I've heard about 2 French companies that hired people going out of school, and it failed. And those 2 companies basically fired those guys in the first year because if you don't have experience, sometimes you just don't know how to do it, and you need a coach or a manager to help you get to speed. That was regarding cybersecurity. Regarding compliance, I would say it's a different work. especially regarding LCBFT in France or anti-money laundering in a global level. That's a new job I learned since last year. Regarding those, I believe it's very local. Those regulations are very local because they depend on each country. So in France, AMF and LCBFT are definitely good ones to go for. On the ES Bank is a famous school to get those certificates. At the international level, so we're talking about anti-money laundering here, not LCBFT, which is French. ACAMS, CAS, is a very famous and I would say quite recognized certifications. In Europe, we've had people from the European Central Bank and from all major crypto companies getting this certification. Again, here some experience will be hard because it's not just a checkbox, right? You have a real use case and a lot of writings to do. So if you don't know how to do the job, you won't be able to pass the certification. And something important, as I said, you have school today training people to cybersecurity, but compliance is a little bit different. You don't have school training for that. So you have two profiles here. You have people coming from a legal school, and then you have people from the computer school switching to compliance. So those two different profiles. And it's interesting because in the team I've been working with, you have those two kinds of people working together, and it's quite interesting because obviously people from legal school are more like literacy, I would say, not technical, but more like writings. And the people from engineering school are much more technical. So those make a good guy for hunting. When you hunt for like a specific, pattern or that kind of stuff, they are able to develop specific hunting scripts. To give your audience a rough idea, it took me 3 months to get 4 certifications, ISO 27 and 3 regarding compliance, but it was a full-time job. I mean, like, if I had done that as a side job, nights and weekend, it would have taken a year probably. But to take those 4 certifications, it took me 3 months, and it was roughly 15K investment, 15,000 euros. So it's quite a big involvement, just to let your audience know.
Yeah. So it's definitely something to do if you're very serious about it, rather than for the job seekers out there, something nice to have on your CV. It's more, what is your company reason for it? How is it going to benefit, and that side.
I would say compliance won't like not serious people because those when you're compliance manager, you actually have legal responsibilities and you could go to jail if you fail. So that's not a job you want to do, lightly, I would say, definitely.
Makes sense. That makes sense. Great. And then the question I ask everyone on this podcast: what do you think, in your case, what do you think the biggest problem in the blockchain security space is at the moment?
Biggest problem, it's quite new, and again, it's moving very fast. So you need to keep touch with what's going on so that you know where things are moving. And I would say it's quite unreliable. How to say? At the root cause of computer is unreliability. It's not about blockchain. I'm saying it with a smile, but I've been doing computers for 20 or 50 or 30 years. And unfortunately, computers are designed to fail. It's unreliable. There are bugs everywhere. And part of my daily job, is just patching, just to fix vulnerabilities and to fix performance problems. So it makes me sad, because when you install a computer, you cannot have a computer running smoothly without 0 bugs. Unfortunately, when the computer bugs, you're like, oh, it's normal, let's reboot. Or like, maybe more in the Microsoft environment, not Apple one, but still, we've seen vulnerabilities there too lately. So I'm saying computers are designed to be unreliable, and we used to patch it. Unfortunately, smart contracts, you cannot patch. And some, I would say, hardcore devs are saying, oh, code is low, and it's designed not to be patched and stuff. But from my point of view, You know, Aave, for instance, they have released like 3 versions. Okay, all of them are safe, but it's quite hard when you cannot patch. So you have to design this very strongly. So smart contract is definitely weird from my point of view, and I'm looking towards upgradable smart contracts. Yeah, there are some blockchains that are doing that, but I think we need to find a solution here. So as of now, my recommendations are like, don't keep money in smart contracts. Smart contracts basically are like call functions, but don't keep money here. It means you can limit the risk to the amount you have during a transaction, which starts at the beginning of the smart contract, and that stop at the end of the smart contract. Other than that, you don't have risk there. That's why if you carry money in smart contracts, it's okay, but if you keep value here, it's quite hard. And I have a lot of respect for projects that are keeping money in smart contracts, because as I said, it's like storing a huge amount of money on something which hasn't been designed to be reliable at the first place. So some people are doing really good work here. Aave is definitely a good place. On the Morpho and Merlin, they are publishing a lot of research about what they are doing to keep this safe. So those are definitely good resources.
Great, no, fantastic. It's definitely something for people to look into. And then last question then. So what would you recommend to teams that are looking to attract and then retain cyber talent at the moment?
It's a very competitive environment, I would say. First, you need to find the resource, which is quite rare as of now. In a company around 2017, I needed to hire 2 people. We had the budget. We looked for 6 months. We never found them. So that's it's been the case since around 2017. So I would say the best asset in the field, from my point of view, are curious people, because I said it's moving very fast, and you need curious people that learn every day, that love. It's about passion. If you work with passion, actually, you don't work. You have fun every day. And it's what I'm saying during my interviews. I don't work. I have fun from morning to night, because I appreciate what I do. So you want to find that people. And then I've been managing teams for like years. And when you find somebody that is a creator, is an innovator, like you explain something to him for 10 minutes, if the question he asks is about the next step, because he figured it already, that's, you know, you found a good profile. That's something important, I guess. And then being honest, because again, the ecosystem right now has some bad people. And after a little while, you know who, that's why you need introduction to people, because if you trust these people, you know, you might trust people, this guy trusts himself. But if you go somewhere you don't know, I would be very cautious, because it still happens.
Yeah, makes sense, and people have got to be cautious. Fantastic. Well, look, thank you so much for your time today. It's been great speaking to you, and there's definitely some interesting things for people to dig into there, especially around the state of regulation. It's really interesting how things are progressing, and we'll have to wait and see how things turn out in the next few months and years. But you're right, lots of change very rapidly. But thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you, James, for the opportunity to speak. I hope your audience appreciated it. Let me know if you have any question. I'm available. I'm not hiding. My LinkedIn is public, you know, but I just don't display where I work, so there's no problem with that. And yeah, I had fun today, and thank you for giving me the opportunity, you know, to give my point of view.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you.
Let's get in touch.